continue to do so. Licinia felt her throat tighten, but she inhaled sharply to stop the tears. She looked at Tullia's face, expressionless in the glaring sunshine, and then gathered the bottom of her stola in one arm, holding the drapery aside so that she could descend the ladder without tripping on it. She slipped one sandaled foot into the black void and felt the cool, clammy air envelop the bare skin of her foot and shin. A chill ran up her spine as her foot found the top rung in the blackness. Her other foot followed. She stepped down to the second rung, feeling the raw wounds on her lashed back tug and bleed anew. She stepped down again. The black dirt was at eye level now, and her fingers were stained with soil as she clung to the earth. To life. It was so strange to be at this angle, staring at the sandaled feet of people who, when this duty was done, would ride back to Rome in their litters, with fresh air still in their lungs, to continue with their day, talking, eating, sleeping, and waking in the morning to the light of dawn. How foreign and impossible those things seemed to her at this moment. Her body immersed to the neck in Hades, Licinia turned her eyes away. She didn't want her last image to be the crookedly tied sandals of a priest. What idiot slaves he must have. Either that or they secretly despised their master. She peeled her eyes open wide, hungry for light as she descended the ladder, rung after rung, into the ever-blackening pit until her feet landed on solid ground. She looked up. The opening to the world above looked like the disk of a full moon shimmering white against the black sky. Licinia's heart pounded so hard that her chest and back ached from the pressure. She couldn't take a deep breath. It was as though a tight band had been wrapped around her upper body. She stood like a statue in the dark, feeling the spindly legs of an unseen insect scurry over her foot, and terrified to look around her. That would make it all too real, and she wasn't ready for that yet. The ladder moved upward quickly, too quickly for her to grab onto it. She watched it rise and then disappear into the glaring lightness above and, a moment later, saw a basket descending to her on a long rope. She reached up to catch it in her arms and then removed the items before those above could remove the basket as quickly as they had the ladder. A round loaf of bread, a small amphora of water, an oil lamp that burned with a small but steady flame. As she stared into the flame, she heard a grating sound from above and felt soft earth fall onto her veiled head. Her tomb was being sealed. She looked up. The full moon above gave way to a half-moon, and then to a crescent, as the last sliver of light disappeared and she was left with only her pounding fear and the flickering flame. Tullia was right. Vesta was with her. The Vestalis Maxima would have undoubtedly lit the oil lamp with the sacred flame from the temple. She cradled the small oil lamp in her palm and turned around slowly, as if sensing a ghost standing behind her, to look around the silent, black pit. The pit was larger than she had expected and more or less rectangular, with smooth dirt walls. A few steps to her left stood a small couch, and on the ground in front of it, Licinia cried out, "A body!" It was dressed in a fine stola similar to her own, but that lay dishevelled and rotten against decayed flesh and exposed bone. The arms and legs were splayed, and the skull was visible, as was a patch of straggly long hair. The mouth was open. Feeling the blood leave her head, Licinia slowly lowered herself to her knees. If she fainted, and she was close to it, she would drop the oil lamp and her only source of light would be lost. She inhaled a few breaths of the stagnant air and felt it stick in her nostrils like a foul film. Something caught her eye, and she glanced to her right. Lying against the dirt wall were two more bodies. These were arranged in a more dignified state, their decaying stolas wrapped carefully, respectfully, around them.